It's 10 o'clock. I need to wake up.
I'd like to call the Sunset Empire Transportation District Board of Commissioners Board meeting for September 26th to order at 10 a.m. right on the dot. Shall we stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Mayor, would you do a roll call, please?
Thank you.
Commissioner Boothe-Schmidt,
Here.
Commissioner MacDonald,
Here.
Commissioner Lewicki,
Here.
Commissioner Alegria,
Here.
Commissioner Withers,
Here.
Commissioner Reed, here, and Commissioner Romero.
He's excused.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any changes to the agenda?
Yeah, we have Paul. Paul here, Paul Winston, and he's going to give us an update on our fiscal year 23 audit. So we can move him up to new business. Let him go first so we can enjoy the rest of his day.
Okay.
And then also we want to, this week, we have a clear winner in our bid for 4 paratransit buses. So we want to add that to the agenda for approval of awarding the contract.
Do we want that under continued business or new business?
Right, new.
Okay. So we'll make that, well, actually, it will be D under new business, and we're going to do C first.
Oh, good.
Anything else?
What was C?
C is going to be Paul's update, but
Okay.
we'll do that right after we approve the
And then the
agenda.
audit would be.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Is there any other changes? I would entertain a motion to approve the amended agenda.
Also move.
Second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? All right. We'll just move right into, and let Paul do his thing, then we'll do
All right.
public comment.
Thank you.
Oh, Paul's confusing me.
Paul's Kelly was talking to me the other day, and I understand you're wondering what's going on. I joked with Craig, I'm surprised I don't see any pitchforks and torches out here, because we're a little bit behind, but I happen to be up here with the team at Cannon Beach, so I just drove up from Cannon Beach just a few minutes ago. So I had to let you know. So, we are behind. I think every auditor in the world is behind right now, from what I understand. And as I told Kelly and Craig, right now, I'm operating under the whoever yells at me the loudest, and Kelly's been nice enough not to yell at me, but I've talked to her. We're shooting for end of next month.
You can change that.
You can change that? And 2 things that works in the favor now of speeding this up is, 1, we've let a few more clients that we didn't want to keep, and 2, I'm no longer managing partner of the firm. That frees up close to 1,000 hours of my time every year. So I can just focus on my client work now. So I look forward to getting several people caught up.
So you're thinking that by our next.
When's your October meeting?
It's actually on combined.
Thursday,
Oh.
Thursday.
Fourth
October
Thursday?
is the
Yeah, the 4th Thursday.
And it's combining?
No, that's
No, I'm sorry.
20, it's the 24th of
I'll plan to
October.
be in your 24th of October meeting.
Okay,
Okay.
we'll shoot for that then.
Gotta be completely.
So we'll
gone.
have a,
Well, we'll have to start 24 then.
Oh.
The year just ended, June 30, 24. So.
Okay.
does that mean we get information in the packet prior to the meeting? To our, our.
Yes, I will
our
get that,
meeting packet?
I'll get that to you so you can get it in the meeting.
Okay.
I'll be in contact with Paul about when that
Yeah.
finishes up and make sure that we have that info in the packet.
All right.
And on behalf of the district, Paul, I'd just like to say thank you for keeping us under your wing and
Yeah.
helping us.
It's a struggle, as most people know. I was talking with my son, kind of side story here, who works for Microsoft, and they sent him to England. He's actually CFO of a division in England. And he came back to Redmond, so last weekend I was in Redmond hanging out with my son, but he didn't bring my 2-year-old grandson. So, I mean, but anyway, he said he was reading in the paper that not only is it an Oregon problem, he said nationwide, especially municipal audits. This is such a specialized field. I've been doing it for 41 years. So, and as other people ask me, I thought you were going to retire. That's what I think too, but the way things are going, it might be a little longer than I thought it would be. They keep on asking me to do more and more as, well, like everybody else, it's hard to find people right now.
And no new people are going into the
And
field.
no new people are going to the field. Since 2011, the number of students studying accounting has been dropping every year. Yeah. That's why I encourage everybody who said they're going to college to say, study accounting. There's jobs out there all over the place.
My wife keeps, she, after her career in childcare and things like that, the district put her in the finance office, and they keep training her on new stuff to do.
Yeah.
And so she says, I want to retire sometime soon. She can't do it right now because there is no young people.
No, there's not. There's no young people taking home.
That's it.
That's it.
No young people want to do this job.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a good day.
All right, yeah, we're leaving, heading back to Eugene today.
Oh.
Right.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you all.
He's finishing the 2023. When he finishes the 2023, he'll start the 2024.
And then we get a copy of them.
So I'll get a copy of the 2023 next month and he'll be here to go over it in our board meeting in October. And then he'll start the 2024, and then when he's done with that one, we'll do that one.
Okay, great.
Whatever that board meeting is.
Okay, so we're a little bit, about a year behind.
Right, no.
Compared to other
No, because we just
That's
finished
not bad.
2024.
No.
Right.
It really isn't that bad.
Yeah.
We're not
I
quite
don't-
a year
Just
behind.
about right, just about right.
Yeah, we're
Better
almost
than we were.
way better than we were. He'll get this one finished.
First, some of rural Washington, soil and water conservation things, they're 5 and 6 years.
Yes, yes.
Okay, we'll move on to public comment. Do we have anybody on Teams?
No.
No? Anybody here for public comment? Okay. All right, we'll move on to then to approval of board minutes. I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I move to approve the board minutes as presented.
Thank you, Rebecca. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Mary, did you want to take roll
No,
call?
it's not important to me.
Okay.
We'll just go with that.
All right. We'll move right on to reports from the chair and the commissioners. So we were out for 2 months. The policy committee met one time, and we do have some policies in the packet we'll go over in a little bit, but I can't think of anything else that I did exciting. So, Tracy, you want to go next?
Okay. I just have been trying to squeeze vacation in with all the other stuff. And other than that, I've done some public, mostly point bus stuff, as far as transportation. And, I still discussed with, to make note, we're getting enough volunteers together to finish our projects of the 2 shelters. I just wanted to tell you that we haven't forgotten that. It's the personnel, getting people where they should be at the time that they told us that they would be there. And I did note the rainstorm the other day at Hanson Limit. Okay.
Great, thank you. Rebecca?
I continue to work on the policy committee. I really enjoyed it. It's one heck of a way to get to know what we do around here. You know, to ensure that what we do is, that we can refer to a really good document. So very important. And the other thing, just anecdotally, I've been talking with some of my neighbors and friends and talking about some of the routes that we have. They're really interesting. I really enjoyed that trip on the 15 when it reopened. Sorry, I'm just let me cough. And I've got a few people that want to go on that route because, you know, it's really an interesting way to get to know Warrenton better. There's so many places that I didn't even know, you know, residential areas and the connections to commercial, residential and all that. And so I'm getting more people to want to use the bus also as a means of getting to know their county better. So I encourage everybody to do that. Thanks.
Pamela?
On the policy committee, same thing that Rebecca said, and then I'm gone tomorrow.
Really going on vacation.
Yep. Is that all right?
Out of here.
See you. And you.
Paul?
Had 2 months of about as much excitement as you have, so I have nothing to report today.
Thank you, Paul.
And Charles?
Well, I'm so behind. I thought I missed the August meeting, but I was in Florida. I felt bad. I didn't feel bad because we were visiting our grandkids in Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, and then LA. So, but I was gone for a while, and as I said, I was enjoying myself, but I felt bad the 4th Thursday in August. I missed it. I should call. But I was glad to have time off, and I did notice one thing when I was traveling throughout the southeast area. In the cities, there's good transit. Outside of those cities, there's nothing. There's nothing.
The rural area.
The rural area, there's nothing. So it made me feel proud that we live near a big metro area, but we do service folks in our part, in our rural county out here. And it was exciting because I'd ask around, so how do you get from here to, well, we try to get you ride with somebody going or something, a lot of walk. You'd see on these rural highways, someone be walking somewhere, you wonder, where are you going? Maybe going to the store, which is a couple miles down the road. So I was proud of that. And talked to the folks who take the Pacific Connector from Cannon Beach up to Astoria. They didn't know it existed. And they liked the fact that they could go up that story and have dinner or some drinks. They were by driving back, so they were real happy with that. So, but I'm glad to be back to a busy fall.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. I'll move on then to financial reports.
Morning.
Morning.
In 2 months of financials are there this time. July, I didn't put outstanding AP or AR just because at this point there isn't. So any questions for me? We're just getting our year rolling.
I did have a couple. On the monthly actuals and projected, on the very last payroll, the 920, has that been taken out of the top also or not?
What page are you on?
No, it has not at that time.
Okay.
It has now, but it has not when I did this.
Okay. And then the other question, I think, Craig, you're gonna take care of one of mine concerning the stiff payments. You'll take care of that.
Yeah, I have an update for you on that.
Okay, down under reimbursements requested, we'll just start with the grant 5311. Has that 104 been taken out of the 604?
It's included in the 604.
Okay, so what we can come, okay, got it. That's it. Anybody else have any questions? Thanks, Kelly.
Comment that certain.
We're off to a good start.
Yes.
Okay.
if there's,
Oh,
go ahead.
maybe one thing, yeah, I don't know if this is the appropriate time, but to talk about, and maybe we're gonna do this later, but the ODOT payouts, and then there's some,
Yes, we are going to talk about that. Yeah,
okay, good.
yeah, that's.
Okay, all right, there's nothing else. Mary, will you include the financials in the minutes? We're just moving around right along today. Continued business. This is the approval of board policies. These are almost all of them, but we do have a couple more to go through.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I do have a question on, I thought that the board approves the travel expenses of the executive director.
Yeah,
So there was a $400 conference. I'm not saying not to go to the conference done, but I thought
There's
we
a
had,
$400 conference for Jennifer.
okay, my line of line.
What page are you looking at, Pam?
Which one of the includes?
It was Jennifer, okay.
and if it's Jennifer, then Craig just okay.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, all right, so board policies. I'm hoping everybody has had a chance to read them. We have B304, B308, B309, B305, B705, and B601, and B808. The policy committee recommends that the board approve those, and we'll add them to our 3-ring binder. Replace them in our 3-ring binder.
In each of your 3-ring binders.
In each of our 3-ring binders that we are working on improving.
But, you know, these are kind of living document
Yes.
policies that, you know, over time, if we ever need to do something about it, they can be changed.
We plan on looking at them every year and making sure nothing has changed in laws and that type of stuff.
You need to move.
I do need them, okay,
I make a motion that the board accept the committee's recommendation to
okay.
approve this.
Well, this is, you're voting on the whole thing?
No,
I'll second.
yes, all
I'll second.
okay. Now, Charles, discussion.
Discussion. I agree this is a living document, but I don't think necessarily should wait a year. If someone sees something in the middle there, say, well, I think we should look at this. You should probably not wait.
Oh, and I totally agree with that.
I know, I realize you can't do it all the time, but there are things you may realize that changed since.
No, and I think that's perfectly okay. I think if any of the board members happens to see something in a policy that's not quite right or it needs to be changed, let me know, let Craig know, we'll put it on the agenda and we can discuss it in the next board.
So that really makes it a living document.
Yeah.
Substantive.
As much work has been put into this, and as much as this is a living, moving document, I would just like to call a vote.
Okay.
Adopt.
Where's it at? Do we have an issue?
I'm not sure whether on page 35, that the secretary treasurer was to be also included. I think there was a discussion, but I can't.
Well, I'm sorry, repeat
Page
that.
35,
B 705.
705.
What are you looking at?
So, that if, so it says if the board chair is unavailable, vice chair is unavailable, and I thought we could go to the secretary treasurer.
We just went to those two.
I think we covered that.
Okay.
Because if it's an emergency, it really doesn't have time to try to locate.
3 people?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Good point.
okay. But we also did, because the old policy, I think, was just the board chair, but I think we decided that it'd be nice. Maybe the board chair's out of town and it would go to the vice chair anyway, so. Okay? All right. Mary, you want to do a roll call on this one?
Yeah.
Commissioner Boothe-Schmidt,
Yes.
Commissioner MacDonald,
Yes.
Commissioner Lewicki,
Yes.
Commissioner Alegria. Yes.
Yeah, she said yes.
Oh, okay, sorry. Commissioner Withers,
Yes.
Commissioner Lee,
You're
Commissioner
welcome.
Rebecca. Okay, motion passes.
Thank you. All right, we're getting close. I'm hoping one more meeting will take care of the last couple that we have. Or
Yes.
4, or maybe 5 that we have,
Yeah.
so. And we'll figure out a time and hopefully bring them, the rest of them back in October.
We already
Very good.
figured it, we already have it on the calendar, our next meeting,
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
That's so nice.
because you've been cracking the whip.
I know. It's like Charles not remembering that we didn't have a meeting in August.
I was feeling bad for no reason to be feeling bad. I was all at the beach. Great work, guys. I was at the beach having an adult beverage. I think we missed him something.
All right,
Great work, guys.
thank you. Moving on to new business, grants funding update.
All right, we got a couple of things here to go over. First and foremost, ODOT has notified us that there could be delays in 5310 and 5311 reimbursements, starting with the 25 through 27 biennium. The delay is attributed to the fact that it takes longer than what they expected to get the agreements with the FTA in place and then distribute the money to the transits. So we will not receive funding until those agreements are executed with the FTA, and then they will distribute funds. So that's going to delay us possibly up to 3 quarters in the 25 through 27 biennium. So that could be a significant delay. I thought it would be worthwhile to pass that information along to you now that we have it available to us. And then also another significant development is the projection for the STIF funding in the 25 through 27 biennium is figured to now be 1.7 million. The last projection was that we would receive 1.9 million. So they projected the STIF funding to come in a full over 200,000 less than what they were initially projecting it. So going forward with these 2 significant developments, I see us remaining conservative as we move forward. And right now we're working on preparing our 5310 and 5311 grants and submitting them through Office. It's a busy time of the year. After that, we'll have our STIF plan that we'll be presenting to the Transportation Advisory Committee. But I would not look for anything bold at this point, given the funding restrictions I see going into the 25 through 27 biennium.
Rebecca?
Yeah, I'm a little gun shy here, that's kind of, I saw a green light, a yellow light, a red light, it's like, we need to know when it goes from green to yellow, and maybe you're saying it's already yellow. This is where we would tap our contingency plan of monies, and a contingency plan, that we have. So I would like to have a close watch on this and also have some kind of substantive expression of what our plan would be as we move forward with this, so that we can stay on top of it. I guess at this point, I'd like to just feel confident that you're confident, but maybe a little bit more explanation of how we're going to meet this challenge.
Well, the STIF plan after the collapse was amended to where we basically reimburse ourselves the 5310 and 5311 monies. We meet the match with STIF funds. And then we also have funds that directly go into operations, keep operations going. That's a pretty sound funding model. And I think if we continue along that track, we should be able to weather this.
and it's just gonna be slow coming from ODOT. But what if, something crazy happens with ODOT and FDA and
Yeah,
it just says a stoppage, in the funding, then how are we gonna handle that?
I would be beyond shocked if there was a stoppage. It's just a matter of timing. And ODOT's indicated that the FDA is taking longer to get these agreements executed. So it's nice that we have this much warning in advance so that we can kind of prepare for it.
Evelyn?
Has there been any discussion among all the transit units, agencies in Oregon regarding this? Because this is a major effect on transit throughout the state, and whether someone has presented this to the governor or Oregon Transportation Commission, pardon me, how this will affect travel on transit.
Yes, at the last OTA, Suzanne Carlson, who's head of PTD right now, presented that at that meeting, and then this email came out that I put in the board package shortly thereafter.
So what does that mean in terms of?
It's just come out in the last couple weeks, basically.
Okay.
Charles?
I think obviously it was down to the district level, and the governor already knows, is aware of this. But I think that, my question is once we get caught up, do we get retro pay, or it just picks up next point moving forward with our normal delivery? Is there, we go back a couple of months?
That's a great question. So we'll submit our reimbursements on time, like we normally do.
Yeah.
And right now, the reimbursements are, what do we submit our reimbursements on? The 14th, I believe, of August, and we received the reimbursements on the 20th. The 20th. So I mean, it's super quick right now because they have that FDA funding for the 23 through 25 biennium already on them. They already have those. So going forward, it might be 2 quarters, where we get all of that reimbursement at one time once the FDA is executed.
It's not lost money.
No.
We'll get the money.
Yeah.
And then, I know I talked with Kelly earlier, and she's planning on when we start getting timber money putting
In November, when we get our tax money,
Tax.
$500,000.
another 500,000 into contingency. So if we keep building that up, that will help bridge through those times also, which we didn't have almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
We didn't have it, even though we were told we had a contingency, we did not.
And right now in our contingency, we're, over $1,000 a month.
Just under $1,000 a
Just
month.
under 1,000.
Between $800 and $950 a month in interest.
So it's growing.
Yeah.
It's growing.
Charles, I'm sorry, Tracy.
So from what all that we are talking about, our lights should be blinking yellow now, and maybe an orange sign.
And I think just kind of staying where we're at until we know what's going on for sure.
Being conservative.
Very
moving
conservative.
forward, yeah.
One more comment is that, about the timber revenue, maybe we put that on the agenda for the next meeting. I kind of like to poke around in that and find out, what our plans are for ultimately having to give that up. If and when we have to give that up, or if now's a good time to talk about it, I don't know. I don't want to add to the agenda.
A lot of information on the timber revenue, the changes. I know that there's more changes coming. The last the county gave to me, which was before we did our budget, was that we were looking at like a 30 to 35% reduction. So that was how I budgeted for this current budget. But if you look at our timber revenue that we received, I took that and, just kind of balanced it out by the 4 quarters. It fluctuates a little bit, but I had expected that we would receive around 30 to 35,000, and we received like tens of thousands. So whether that's hitting low like they expected or not, fortunately, we don't know. The money goes into accounting and then they just send us our percentage.
Yeah, it'd be interesting because we don't know when that's gonna shift, but we should have some kind of a plan for how we're gonna infill.
And they just tell it, look, you're gonna get 35% less, so we budget that way, and then we get surprised.
And the 35% less could come as the year goes on, just because we got a large amount now. Our next quarter could be very minimal. I don't know whether it will occur.
So I know the governor is planning on subsidizing like the schools. The timber money they don't receive, she's working at subsidizing the schools and others. Are we part of that, she would subsidize us if we lost so much?
I would hope so.
I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, but I would hope so, that we would be part of that.
Lots of issues about budget and kickers and stuff like that in the legislature.
Yes. And there's a lot of us inquiring, and
We're not the only.
yeah, there's lots of us that are saying, hey, what about?
How will the reduction of employees, was that taken into account in the budget? Because companies have lost employees for the mass, I forget the name of it, that part,
Technology.
the tax.
The methods and mass transit.
Right.
Is there a reduction? Are we looking to reduce our employees?
No.
I don't understand what you're.
So we receive that money and there's been a reduction of employees, it's in the state. So has that been taken into account for the budget we recently passed?
I took into account what we had received in the past, and I just kind of go off of that number. It's a best guess. We don't get a lot of information as to how much money we'll be getting from that. So I don't know what that's going to look like going forward.
But I guess looking at the big picture with all of these financial questions going forward, we're in a much better financial place to deal with this than we were a year and a half ago. And then having to notice the 9 months notice before this starts occurring gives us even more time to prepare. So,
I'm assuming, Kelly, that when you publish this cash flow projection for each meeting, that you bake into that any knowledge you have about what's coming up. For example, if we get to a point where we know we're gonna be 9 months out on the reimbursement, would you bake that into the next cash flow?
If I knew for sure that our reimbursements weren't going to come as I had budgeted for them, I would adjust that. As that sits right now, that's what my monthly budgets look like going forward. So that's how I expect it to come in and go out currently. It's what we budgeted. My hope is that our expenditures will be less, but I don't have any control over that, so.
But if you come to a month where right now you would expect to have reimbursement, and we get to the month before that, and you know from ODOT, we're gonna be 4 months late in that reimbursement, would you bake that in?
I would adjust that.
And
Absolutely.
that's to your concern, Rebecca, because we do have this tool that should give us a real-time picture of what our expectation is on timber and the delays on the 5310 and 5311 stuff. I think this is going to be real helpful.
Yeah.
If it's kept up like it has been.
It's good. It's always good to know ahead of time.
Okay, all right. We don't need anything there, so shall we move on to new business B, declare the 3 buses as, declaring 3 buses as surplus.
Yes, and now it's 4.
4 buses.
Four buses. We have a older Gillick bus, we have an older Bluebird bus, and then we have the 2 Lower Columbia connector buses that we'd like to declare as surplus, so we can clear up some space over at Ops, so that we have room for these 4 new paratransit buses that we want to order.
The Lower Columbia Cape bus.
Yeah, Yeah, the big highway, let's see.
Very nice. Those Lower Columbia connector buses, or we have to do those?
The Lower Columbia connector buses, my understanding is that we pay cash for those. If there's no ties to ODOT or anything, I would assume the Bluebirds and the Gilligs and Jennifer should be going a little bit more, have some federal funding involved. It would most likely require following the regulations of the FTA in terms of their disposal.
But we will try to get a little bit of money out of them.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Do we need to approve that?
Yes, or you need to declare them as surplus so that we can move forward with
Well, then I would so move.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to declare those 4 buses as surplus. And we have a second. Is there any other discussion?
We have an idea of what we think they're all worth, so we have kind of an idea.
general idea.
General idea.
Do you want to roll call on this?
Commissioner Boothe-Schmidt,
Yes.
Commissioner MacDonald,
Yes.
Commissioner Lewicki.
Yep.
Commissioner Legria.
Yes.
Commissioner Withers.
Yes.
Commissioner Reed. Yes. Motion passes.
Okay. And then move on to new business and our new buses.
Business.
This is really good news. Jennifer has been working diligently at getting bids for buses, so I let her give the good news.
Well, Kimberly's help, I don't know where we would be without Kimberly. Paul's worked with Kimberly, so she, she came down and visited with us. She's knowledge and mobility, so she asked us our dream sheet and what we want, and she sends out the RFQ to the vendors, and we had one vendor bring down 2 different buses, and yeah, so very nice. And we had drivers and mechanics go through them, so, and we're excited, and then she met with Craig and I, after she put her, the analysis together, and then we went with, a vendor, and it worked out that they were the cheapest, but they have, great contact, very approachable, and that's something also very important besides just the vehicle itself, but being able to get support, be able to reach the salesman for after we receive the bus, and getting some parts and those things in the future. So moving forward, so
Great.
Northwest
So
Bus.
are they cutaway models or?
Yes, they are 24-foot long, 12 seats with 2 wheelchair tie downs. The wheelchair access is at the front of the bus, which ends up being a lot more comfortable ride for the riders, and easier access for drivers, and safer. Yeah, so.
And I've ordered 3 of these when I was down south. They're good.
So they're a vendor, and we don't have that make and model, but Craig is very familiar with this make and model, so. And they're a Ford bus, so we're getting away from the last 3 that we ordered. And so we're going with this.
Are these low floors?
No, we are not able to get a low floor.
Will we can continue loading all the tech that we have in the rest of our fleet, the same head signs?
Yes,
And all the other equipment?
yes.
I'm trying to think what that is now. I don't know if we're showing the passenger counters and the vehicle location and that sort of stuff.
Vehicle location, yes. Swiftly, the head signs. We're not gonna do the annunciators because they're primarily gonna be used for paratransit. And what are the other?
We had passenger counters.
Yeah, we haven't been using those. We never really got that up and going.
We had the liquid suspension.
Yes, so we are doing the liquid springs. drop-down chains, because this is a little bit bigger bus than our current paratransit, so drop-down chains for 5 a.m. dialysis rides are a much-needed item than trying to put chains on at 5 in the morning, so, yeah, all the regular things, I think, that, yeah, the aftermarket that we run, so, yeah. I love that.
So when are they gonna be on the road?
Good news.
Uh-oh, I must have
For
said
summer.
a bad question.
No, they said, first quarter, second quarter, we might receive them.
Delivery times are.
They could be on the road by summer.
Right, February, the earliest we'd receive them. But, yeah, the delivery times have come way up from what they were at the time.
And I don't miss the enunciator because it was on the 101, it was stuck on Spanish, and I don't do Spanish. I do French, but I'm not Spanish.
And I will have to say, we are in the process of actually, currently, right now, this minute, getting that corrected.
Oh, good.
So, yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
do we need a motion to accept these?
I think so.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
It's purchases.
It's a budgeted item.
Budgeted item, it's a line item.
Line item.
I had never done that process down south. The board be involved.
It seems like in the past, we've always got.
Permission from the
Yeah, so
board
it goes
just in
in,
case?
goes in the minutes that the board.
So
knows about it.
so move that we
So-
adopt these for.
I second that we adopt buses. They're low. Is that cheaper than buying them?
They stay way longer.
There you go.
Okay, any other discussion? We'll just do it all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Yay, new buses.
Yeah, buses.
$1,000
All right, looks like we're down to 11 correspondence. Any correspondence?
I see there are a couple of, attaboys and attagirls.
Yeah, I made a presentation to the Climate Advisory Council, basically our story and what we've been through and the steps we've taken to move forward. And she was very appreciative of that. And then we had a couple of organizations that have contacted us since then, and Ticket Partner, Ticket Bank. So it was very rewarding presentation.
I'm sorry, what was CAC?
Climate Advisory Council.
Plymouth?
Oh, Plateau. Sorry.
That's okay.
Right?
I did that for a couple of years, so I understand.
Well, I've never heard of it. What do they do exactly?
I think they advise the county commissioners and the city council on,
Do they appointed or selected? or-
I'm not sure.
I think it's the directors of them, the directors of those, and their services in the county. Services are applied in the
Okay,
county.
that sounds
So they
good.
meet together to share that information.
Oh, that's good.
And what's new, what's working, what isn't working. So,
And then we also received a letter from the Clatsop County Victim Assistance expressing their liking of being able to take part in the ticket bank.
So since you did that presentation, I'm gonna bring this up and see what we can do. I know you talked with, I think it was, the city manager, a little bit ago. And he was asking about doing another tour, like we did a year ago, and do another presentation of where we're at now. And I think that would be a really good idea to go back to all those council meetings
Yes.
and update everybody. And I would be happy
Agreed.
to go with you again,
Excellent.
because I kind of enjoyed seeing people I don't
It
get
was
to
enjoyable.
see. It was a lot of fun, actually. So if, to work on something like that, maybe start October, November, or wait till after the first of the year.
Right now is about the busiest time possible with all the grants and stuff that we're trying to get in. So I would think maybe December, January.
Okay.
Something like that.
But fresh start at first year.
people's
packets are clear.
Yeah, holidays and everything, because some of those skip December meetings.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, okay, well, let's,
Shoot for it.
yeah,
I'm really thrilled that you have that going on, that's part of your circuit, you know, I just think that really does a lot to communicate out and give us more of a presence, so thank
Oh,
you,
yeah.
Craig, for taking that time to do that.
You're welcome.
I'm really looking forward to hearing more, about your little junkets and what you bring back.
Yeah, it's like our traveling road show.
yeah,
Right, good.
Next time doing.
and it is fun, because I get to see people that I don't, the mayor of Cannon Beach, we used to work together, the only time I see her is if I go down to a meeting, so it's kind of.
Yeah, Debbie knows everybody, so she's our in, and then she introduces me to everybody, so it works really good.
And when I worked in the Medford office for PPNL, same, our district manager had the same idea. And so we went to public bodies around the county, and it gave us, who worked in the central part of Medford office and, you know, never took our heads up during the day, a chance to get out and have coffee with people that lived in Sheep Cove and Prospect, and it makes a difference.
Oh, yeah, it gets the word out, and we got some good stuff to share. I mean, our ridership is just, it's gone great since we were last there, and we've increased it, we've over doubled it in time since we did the initial presentation. So it'd be nice to show that we followed through with what we talked about in those presentations. We're heading in a positive direction.
You know, I think the community wants us to turn the page, you know, they want to help us. I mean, I would assume that they're probably getting that kind of response.
Yeah, I don't get any negative feedback. It's all positive. Yeah, the services we provide. Everybody wants to be helpful.
Right.
All right, move on to your report.
All right. There we go. Okay, and a lot of this stuff I've already covered. Managing resources, SETD submitted our 5310 and 5311 and our STIP reimbursement requests on 8/14. There was significant additions to the submissions in terms of what ODOT is requiring. We didn't get any kickbacks from the submission, and we received the reimbursements on the 20th. So it's an error. We received it on the 20th, which is the quickest reimbursements I've seen. Honestly, 6 days is pretty unheard of. So that went really well. And then I've talked about the delays in future 5310 and 5311 ODOT reimbursements until ODOT executes the agreements with the FTA. ODOT will not distribute funds until they receive them from the FTA. And then also finally, the STIF projections from fiscal year 26 and fiscal year 27 have been revised down from 1.98 million in December to 1.78 million in August. And I think we've covered most of that. Leading people, it's been busy around here. On August 29th, we had a all-staff meeting. Micio was awarded our employee of the quarter. He's a paratransit driver and just does an outstanding job. He's the kind of guy that comes in, grabs the stuff, just goes out there and presents a great image of the district to everybody he encounters. We're a lucky organization to have. On August 9th and September 13th, we had I had the WADA meetings. The MAC Collective, who is in the process of updating our website, now has our GTFS information. And hopefully soon we will see live updates of our buses on our website. Our website is particularly dated right now. So hopefully we can get that going pretty soon. They are working on it presently and they have that information with them.
Can I interrupt you just for a second? We talked about adding information for the point bus. Is that going to be able to get?
It is on the Northwest Connector website.
Okay.
It is on there. I did check on that.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
On September 6th, I met with the Seaside Providence CEO, discussing options, transportation options in the community. They're running into a problem. They don't have Lyft, they don't have Uber available to them. So they're just looking at more options. It was the first of probably many meetings going forward, which we, can present what services we provide, and then they can make them more readily available to the public as needed. September 10th, I had a presentation to the Class Up Advisory Council, which we saw the letter there. September 11th, met with the Class Up Rural Health Coalition. I was able to attend part of that meeting, but then I had to go to the Nevada meeting. Jason was gracious enough to join me for that meeting. And again, it's just exploring various transportation alternatives in the area, what's available, so that we can get people where they need to go in moving forward. September 12th, I had the, did you have a question?
Oh, I just want to go back for a second to your meetings, and you'll have further meetings with the Providence CEO. The Union Health District is a special district where, and I'm hoping, maybe in your discussions that you would, it is an additional layer of the ability to hear back from the community, that special district that handles Providence. So if you could just put that in your hat and just maybe inquire about that, because those are citizen folks like ourselves, on that board. And I think it's important that they connect, the Providence connects with them.
Okay, and that's the Union Health District.
Health District.
Okay.
I got a question about the stop at the hospital. Are we going up to the hospital, or are we just meeting them behind that?
It's an on-call.
And someone calls in front of us, and then do they make calls to us, or the driver just?
And they call us.
They call the driver.
They call us, and then the dispatch lets the driver know.
You just
On the last loop, it's after 5, so the driver goes in there
Oh,
after
he
5.
does, okay. They don't have to wait to come down. They don't have.
No, the driver goes in if dispatch calls.
Okay.
Then after 5, the route's still running, so then the driver goes in after that.
Oh, okay.
Whether the driver's called or not.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's no way to call the bus after 5.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, on September 12th, we had the OTA meeting. They're continuing to do a road show throughout the state, different segments of the state. They're down in the southern portion now. They've already been through up here, and that's kind of a big encapsulating ODOT type of thing that they're going to the legislature for increases, and stiff funding increases will also be a part of that. They're looking to develop an overall package to help fund ODOT, which is severely underfunded right now because of the electric cars and all that. So we're part of that too, in terms of that package. And then September 18th, we had 5310 and 5311 FTA grant training, which I attended, and working on 5310 and 5311 grant submissions now. So, all right, improving the organization. The district has undergone many stressful challenges in the last year and a half, and that includes the board also, the shutdown. I can't imagine what it's like to have to go home and tell your family that your job is shutting down and you're going to lose your job. We've had the loss of Donna, and there was a lot of criticism in the community to both the board of directors and to individuals that work here. That created a lot of stress. And as an organization, I consulted with HR Answers. I think at this point we need to move forward with healing of the organization. So we're going to make available to our employees counseling services, which have been available the whole time, but we're actually going to bring them here and let them talk to them. moving forward as an organization, doing trainings, getting our staff all on the same page, I think is the best way to move forward. We're going to do that going forward.
Great. I wanted to add, and I really appreciate that very good timing and very proactive of you to emphasize that. Thank you. The city of Astoria is also looking at doing partnerships throughout the city and maybe ultimately in the county on trauma-informed care and trauma-informed so that agencies, cities can handle these kinds of issues like the pandemic, loss of service and our important transit. So in your travels, share that, what you're doing, because it's going to build some, critical mass, and where there'll be more interest in doing that for throughout agencies.
Right.
Because I really do think that I think Americans are like, oh, dust yourself out, come on, let's just get going here. But that really, doesn't always really work. We need more help. And I said that, I would encourage us to set some goals on that. Now, I don't know if this was, it's individual counseling that's available, but also if you're, to develop managers. So that's an internal thing. And, setting goals, and then you train and mentor, and then you evaluate the progress. Not to say, we're getting the evil eye on people, how they're making progress, but when you set goals, then there really is, it sort of makes it actually important what you're doing, instead of just a one-off kind of thing, and you put it on the shelf and you're done. Right. But it'd be kind of good to set some goals on that.
And
it would be beneficial.
It's important to develop the people that have committed to us. I mean, people when they came back were doing 2 or 3 jobs trying to get everything started back up. They made a huge commitment to SETD during that time. And I think it's time we kind of put that back into them through trainings and development of supervisors and managers.
I mean, we step in and out as board members, but you guys are there all the time. And you've been weathering this, the staff has been weathering all these changes and these issues, every day. So I thank you very much for that, and thanks for offering this additional layer.
All right, service, delivery, and operations. Well, here comes the more good numbers. We continue to grow ridership and had over 10,000 total passengers in both July and August. That's combined paratransit and fixed route. Thanks.
That was 10,000. That's it. Sorry. No, that's a great number.
It is. It is.
When did the last time we did 10,000?
Well, it'll have to be before the shutdown.
Before the shutdown.
Yeah, that's good enough.
That's very good, good recovery.
And the key there is, we're doing those numbers. We're only running about 40% of the service hours and miles that we were before shutdown to get to those numbers. So we're very efficient at what we're doing. So next, before we get to the ridership numbers, give kind of a state of the district, kind of overview of how things have gone in the last year. Finished fiscal year 23 at 94% of budget, so we live within our means. And we restored service in a fiscally responsible manner. Grants, STIFs discretionary, 5310, 5311. The 2-year grant cycle is upon us, which makes things very, very busy. Projections for STIF funds are down, limiting our ability to add new STIF projects. Plan will be conservative and similar to the STIF plan. The fleet, I talked about we're gonna move 4 buses out of our lot to make way for the Eagle. Unfortunately, over 50% of our fleet currently is outside of its useful life. The the 4 paratransit buses that we're going to be ordering is going to help that. But I also submitted a stiff discretionary grant for 2 replacement fixed route buses. So hopefully we'll get good word on that. However, it is highly competitive. There's only a total of about $12 million for the entire state. And our grant is seeking $425,000 of that. So our chances are pretty slim, but we're trying at least. Ridership continues to exceed expectations. We're doing 70-75% of passengers from before shutdown. SETD is running approximately 40% of the service hours and miles. And then staffing, we budgeted for 30 full-time positions coming into the year. So far, this is where we're at. We've added 1 new supervisor. So we have 2 supervisors now, which is a huge addition. 1 new mechanic. Again, Alex has been our single mechanic since the time we've come back. He's just an outstanding young man. And now he has somebody in Nick, our new mechanic, who actually has experience at working on buses and will prove to be a big benefit to that department. We have 1 new transportation support specialist, Sam, and she's fitting right in and learning the job. So we're starting to get our ranks back up. We've also kept on our part-time temp mobility manager assistant because he's proved extremely beneficial when going to events. And when I was at the Class Up Advisory Council meeting, they asked me, who is that guy that shows up to all those events? He's got the beard. He's just such a great guy. And it was Jason.
He has the beard.
So they're very successful in what they do and getting the word out at these various events and stuff. And he's proven to be a valuable asset to the organization. We have now exhausted our callback list of transit operators. So I predict within the next 3 to 6 months, we may have to start looking for more drivers. It's just natural that we were going to get to this point. And I think we're just about there. Thank you, Jason. So if you look at the ridership, I cut it back to just January. If you look from January to August, it's quite an increase in our ridership. I think we're getting kind of to the top, though. I don't know if we're going to see much growth from the 94. I think we're just about maxed out. And out of that 94, about 40, I believe it's like 4,800 of that is riding the 101. So there's quite a few riders on the 101. If we do any expansion, I think it would only be logical to add more service hours to the 101. Right now it has like about an hour and a half headway between trips up and down the 101. If we could reduce that at least for 8 hours of the day to like 45 minutes, we would see a significant ridership increase for those 8 hours of service. Next slide. And here's our paratransit numbers. I think we're getting pretty much to the top here too. We did 912 in July and 836 in August. And here's the 101. Did 4844 in August and 4773. There's the Route 10 in Astoria. I think we're getting about as much production as we're going to get out of these routes, given the service hours we're running. People have adapted to our schedules and they are riding the bus. Route 15 Warrenton. It's only been back for 4 months now, but from the first month to August, we've seen increases. And Route 20, 1,200 passengers, almost 1,300 passengers.
I got a report from a professional rider, my daughter. She said the Route 15 adds quite a dimension to the service because it connects, just like we talked about earlier, residential areas into the business hubs. So,
And on that route, that's 600 rides that we're doing that we weren't doing. I wish we could have brought it back sooner than what we did. That's a lot of rides. I know when Steven, our operator, when he was initially doing that, he would stop the bus and pick people up on the side of the road just to let them know we were doing the route. So I think a lot of credit has to go to him in terms of filling the ridership on that route.
Yeah.
But it's definitely we're filling a need in that community. Definitely. I wish we could have brought it back sooner.
Kind of a sideline, but I know we talked about Fairless, and in future meetings, if we can talk about that a little bit, because we don't get a lot of revenue from fares, and there's been some talk that maybe, like other districts, that might be a perk for our riders, and it could be sustainable for us too. So.
I've done the Fairless model, and there's a couple of things that we learned in a very quick time. One, it does increase ridership. There's no doubt about that. You have more ridership, but it doubles and triples the problems that you have to deal with on the bus. It does lead to a lot of confrontation in situations that you have to respond to. So that's something to take into consideration. But one of the things that I planned before the STIP allocation was reduced was I wanted to introduce where we would reimburse ourselves for like half of the fare, like cut it in half to make it more economical, more cheaper for people to rent the bus. I don't know if we'll be able to do that given our current where we're at with the STIP funding. By not this time, because we're still paying back the loan, et cetera. In the future, I think that's something very valuable to the community, and it does make a difference. People called up when I was down south, like, hey, I'm a senior, I'm on a fixed income. We had dropped fares from $1.50 to 75 cents. And it was just the outpouring of appreciation for that small decrease was just huge. So it's something we should consider in the future.
Oh, thank you.
For everybody, include the homeless that we have in Seaside Cities, to include that in that fares discussion. Is that included? The thing we do at the
When we do fair for
Homeless Connect, is that what it's called, Jason?
Yeah, when we do the Homeless Connect, you guys have always voted to ensure that we have.
But this is kind of this discussion, that event's not included in the fair, fares. No. Okay.
Just a permanent.
Fares as an FARES, not FAIRS.
Correct.
Okay. All right. I was stuck.
All right, the Pacific Connector weekend routes. You see we're up over 1,000 for July and August. I think June had 5 weekends in it, or at least 4 in one day in it. That's why you see the difference there. It's an enormously popular route. Weekends it goes all the way down to Canton Beach. Yeah, it's a great service.
It's the June had St. Castle, I'm sure.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure that one.
Yeah.
But still, I see lots of people maybe having that advantage of parking a car and then going to Seaside.
Great.
Just anecdotal, I've had surveys.
All right, next slide. Jennifer.
Thank you. The only things I thought I might add would be when we were discussing Route 15, the big stops on Route 15 are the food bank. That's a high ridership for that route, and then the regional food banks out by senior disabled services. That's also another large riderships. Social Security office is out there now, and then a lot of our riders go out to Walmart, Costco also, so now they can make that connection from 101 onto the 15. So yeah, the ridership for 15 has proven to be a good choice in advancing our bus service. So what else was I going to add? The surplus vehicles, thank you. That'll be a huge improvement on our lot, and then adding the 4 new buses probably in the next 6 months or so. So that'll be great. Our current paratransit buses have very high mileage on them, and so these were buses that were going to be replaced when I believe Paul was chief operations and had 6 buses on order, and that vendor was not able to produce, and he had to cancel that purchase order that many years ago, and so now we're getting back to getting those buses back to SETD, so that'll be a huge improvement, and the drivers will be very thankful. We did add to those 2 transit vans in 2018, 2017, and they're a little bit harder to schedule too, and they're a van versus these are cutaways, and so it gives the driver a more versatile. They can flip seats, they can load wheelchairs, they can transport up to 12, 14 riders, and so it gives our schedulers, our dispatchers, an easier day in scheduling. It gives the driver more versatile in how they load and unload riders. So just to give you a little bit of idea why we went from vans to the cutaways. Anybody have any questions on my report?
This may be Jason's question, but I'll ask. We had mentioned, I also volunteer at the food pantry in Canada Beach, and my wife do. Did anyone ever reach out to you about that and about the ability to get, there's folks who walk, senior citizens who walk sometimes 4 or 5 blocks and further to the food pantry on Wednesdays from 3 to 5. Did anyone mention that?
No one's mentioned that to me, but I'm aware of that. And there's been some discussion that I've had with individuals down there who have called up, but nothing really specific to exactly what you're saying. So,
well, I do know Mayor Barr works at the shelter. I just thought it'd be an opportunity for us, because
absolutely,
often, I mean, I've seen some 80-year-olds carrying the bags, and I'm thinking, can we do something to help them? So you want me to give you a name, a contact name or something?
Yeah, if you would like to, that'd be great.
Mayor and have her to call her and.
Either way, yeah, either way work.
Okay, because I think that's an opportunity.
Absolutely.
Because most folks show them cars, but I would say they get 60 cars a Wednesday, and I would say probably 20% more than that come on foot.
Okay.
And carrying, 25, 30 pounds of groceries is hard. So not see.
Please do.
You want me to just give you a name and a contact?
Sure. If you give me name and contact after the meeting today, I'll make sure I start that
all right. Thanks.
Connection.
Tracy?
This is purely informational for the historian leaving.
It's 1901 and 1902. Those are the motor coaches.
Yeah.
98.
Yes, 98 is the old Gillig that was purchased for cruise ship, ridership, and some of those extra things that we were doing. And then 70, 73, 76. Thank you, 76, which is a Bluebird. Was purchased for the Lewis and Clark Centennial.
That's 98, right?
98.
98.
Bus 70, yeah. So.
Yeah.
Was in that picture?
Yeah.
98.
1998. That's when they were new.
When they were shiny.
Lewis and Clark Grant, yeah.
Yeah.
Everything was more shiny in 19.
Rebecca, I was just gonna ask, how long is the project with CNH for that route to be diverted or that stop?
that is gonna be off and on until the remodel is completed. I'm not sure, I think it's a 5-year project, but I could be wrong. Maybe that was from the beginning of, they starting the, actual start of the project.
So the effects of the public transit access will come and vary over time.
Currently, it is already going on. They will close Exchange at 20th Street because the main water line goes across Exchange. And I told them we drive a very large bus. Their current detour is not gonna work for our bus, so, but we need to still access all the medical facilities there. And so Rick and I are trying to come up with elderly disabled, access instead of dropping them off on Morning Drive and making them cross, 4-lane highway. So it proves to be a challenging, and then it's every day, it's different, but
How is this being coordinated with the employees and patients of CMH?
Well, we have to get communication from the contractor, they have to notify us the daily changes, and then we try, whether it's on the radio, they let us know, because every day it's changing. We'll put a notice in the break room, this is the detour today. Because they're changing or closing the detour or roads as the project progresses throughout the day or the weeks.
Is this project out here, East Marine, having any adverse effects on us? Other than just
Over by
the narrowing of the road?
Oh, yes. Yes.
But we're handling it as best we can, right?
Best we can, because we will stop at the shelter that's located at the old state, in front of the old state building. So we do stop there, pick up riders, which causes to be a traffic hazard. We've communicated with ODOT and let them know there are safety concerns, so.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Could we add, this is another small thing, the folks at KCI Institute would like to also, when we make changes like that.
That's at the hospital?
Yeah, they're up in the 820 wing of the hospital.
Right.
So, because they have a lot of patients that are semi-blind or blind, and so they need to be aware of the change.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you. Yeah, definitely.
Anything else? No?
Is there an ongoing effort to relocate the trash receptacles outside of the shelters?
We are getting price for those. I think we're on hold right now with the workload. They're pretty spendy.
I recall.
Yeah. So we're looking, and still trying to get information back from people, from those vendors.
Okay.
But yes, it's a project I've been working on.
Are those
Prices.
concrete or something?
They're metal, and then you can get them off the ground, you can get them on the ground, they can have, and then how easy accessible do you want your garbage can, and then do you want a rain guard or no rain guard, so making those communications and getting prices on those, and then picking the shelters we want, and do we want them in all shelters, certain shelters.
About shelters that have trash cans inside of them.
Yeah, right, yes.
Well, I think the cost on those was running about $850. So we're really only looking at the labor to put a small concrete pad right now. I realize there's a lot of other things going, but I would hope the board would share my interest in getting the trash out of the shelters and making them for our riders. And maybe we could follow up, give you a report each month.
Okay.
To see where we are.
That makes a difference at the cinema, the trash is outside, not inside.
Sure.
Just an observation.
And of course, you know, a meeting wouldn't be a meeting without asking about the lonely bench out in front
And
of,
that,
Costco.
It's a lane.
that,
But that's
I, yeah.
You already addressed that earlier in the meeting.
I did address that earlier. We've made an estimate on what we need as far as a donation for the 2 pads. And we don't see any real big problem with doing both shelters. And in that
Sunset
regard.
Beach and.
Sunset Beach and Ensign Lane.
But excuse me, but the existing place where people sit in front of Costco, that would move anyway once we get the pullout for ODOT. When we can actually do some major surgery to that space, right?
Yeah, that's why we're not.
The covered area, I mean, when we build a covered area, that's gonna need to be right down there for where eventually we'll
That
cut
project's
that out,
been
right?
canceled.
Yeah,
That project's been
project's
canceled.
canceled.
Totally canceled.
Yes, we're
Yes.
at square one with that one. So we are, the shelter style that we're talking about for Ensign Lane is similar to a smaller, flatter.
You already have those shelters.
Which,
We already have the shelters.
yeah, we do.
Okay,
And
and then
so,
that will that be built up where, you know, where up above where the little walkway is, or will it be closer to the street?
it's gonna be, closer to the walkway area.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to know.
If, I would maybe need to confirm with Arla that nothing with the White Bench bus stop, none of whether paperwork would need to be completed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll make a note.
Sounds like another umbrella winter.
Yes, I know. It's another umbrella winter. Yes.
I found it doesn't pay to buy umbrellas.
That shows you're from
Yeah, so
down
it's
here.
from here. We can get them in seasonal colors, Charles. We can do something for Christmas and, you know.
Yeah, because I just see people sitting there.
I know.
No cover.
Anything else for Jennifer? Thank you, Jennifer. Sue?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, I just wanted to elaborate on a couple of the action items. The prepared and submitted materials for the drug and alcohol audit. It's the first audit I've had since I've been here. I think so that means it's 5 years, that they had it before I got here. So I submitted all of the documents to RLS. It was quite the little project. And then I got an email yesterday from one of their representatives who's gonna come and do an on-site, end review. And anyway, so when I asked him if he needed anything else, he goes, no, you provided everything. And then so we'll not only come to the operations, but we will also go over to our, to Drug Screens Inc. And they'll do an audit with them, kind of like a mock testing. So that's coming up in November. And then I finalized arrangements with the employees for their CPR training, which we had on Tuesday. Very well attended, very well done by Dwayne from Medics. And I just wanted to elaborate a little bit on our new and returning employees. Sam Halverson came to us from NAPA because I couldn't get it in here. I mean, they're like, what a state. So Sam Halverson, Samantha, she came to us from Napa Auto Parts, and she's a volunteer firefighter in Napa. And she is just a whiz bang. She's doing a great job learning equal lane. I mean, between her and Lauren, and at the rate that they have been able to, you know, comprehend it and be proficient with it, has been really, really amazing. So we haven't had that in the past, but these two are real great. And then Chuck, our bus driver, who was promoted to fixed route supervisor, he's been with us for 5 years as well. He came in August, right before I came in October. And so he's learning the ropes, and I think he's gonna be doing a good job. And he's actually doing the scheduling now, which has really helped her gather time. So Dick Schaefer was our mechanic, I believe, back in 2022. And he worked with us for about 9 months before he went off to other endeavors. So he wanted to come back. So we trained him, and he got his CDLB with us, which is extremely important. So Alex can go on vacation, he can have a weekend off, he can do whatever, because Nick is able to fully work on the buses if needed. And then Marla McEwen was one of our laid off drivers who actually went to work for Pacific Transit during the layoff. And she's come back now as a temporary position, and if and when we have an open position, she would be happy to join us as a regular fixed route driver. And then Jonathan Salvador came back for another 3 months as the mobility assistant. Anyway, and he's just done a phenomenal job, and he's just a wonderful young man, and he's extremely interested in transit, and I think he would like to make a career of it if he could. So there's just a little bit more, get to know our employees a little better. Any questions?
Thanks, Sue.
Thanks, Sue. Thank you, Sue.
Mary. Well, it's been kind of busy. We've had a lot of things happening in summer, and I do marketing for that and get people on the bus to go to the museums, to the beach, things like that, kind of focusing on people looking at that as an option, not sitting home, but being on the bus and fun. So prepared quite a few ads. We have a weekly ad in the Daily Astoria now, and we'll have for the next 6 months, and it changes, rotates, and it's in the weekend insert that's in there. So I pretty much try to promote, our military ride for free, again, local activities, et cetera. So doing that, and that's pretty much it. Board packs, of course, and loved having August to relax. I thought that was great. Been working on the policies, which are one of those kind of things, you go forward, then you go back, you go forward, then you go back, but we have made headway, and we will have them completed in a sense, like Debbie has said. They are a working document all the time, and we have discussed just continuing to have the policy meetings and schedule them, because there's always something we can improve on, always something, there's always something, so, yeah. Thank you very much.
Any questions for Mary?
Just a big thank you for all that you do.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I enjoy working here very much.
Okay. Jason.
Well, good morning, everybody. It's just been an incredibly busy summer for me. So it's been a lot of travel training, going out and visiting with organizations and other services to spread the word about transit. And we're here to help. We're not just here to get somebody and just drive them. We want to help people be able to get around efficiently and as best that suits them as possible. One thing I'll add to that, other than Jonathan, thank you all for all the kind words everybody has said about Jonathan. It's all true. He's been amazing. I loved the progression that we had from training him to his actionable abilities. It was like the first day that we met, there was a gentleman out here on the concourse that needed help. We knew about that. And I just said, go offer your assistance to this guy, please. And he just jumped right in. He didn't know anything other than that he was going to go help this person. And he did. He helped the person. He talked about schedules and just used what he had already known on the first day just to help him. So that was really good. I'm glad that he's on. I'm appreciative of the district and letting him stay on for a few more months. So that's good. One thing I will kind of highlight is with my Community Connects, this is really important when I say connections. So my Community Connects, I was over at Columbia Memorial Hospital, and I spent 4 hours there, and I also spent about 3 hours at their clinic the other day. But at the hospital specifically, I could not believe the amount of conversation you have. Normally it's, people come by, oh, you're the bus, oh, we love you guys, and they'll take a freebie and then walk off. Over here, it was amazing. Everyone wanted to talk about their situation. So it was very engaging, very connection oriented. It was my first day without Jonathan after he took off. So it was really good to be there. But what happened out of that though is I had a couple of individuals, 2 different individuals who had come up to me and said, I have a problem in getting to my regularly scheduled appointments here via bus. I have to go through all these different scenarios, all these different people that have helped me get here, and it's not always very good. I have no car, no nothing. I just need to be able to get here, and the bus schedule doesn't match up to my regular schedule. The cool thing is I was able to speak to their provider. I asked them, can you bring your provider down and give them permission to talk about your schedules? And we did. We talked about it, and the provider was like, yeah, we'll change time. We'll change time, because they let talk to me and stuff. Apparently they were unwilling to change the time to match the schedule, but I guess coming down and talking to me did something. I don't know, but it was really neat, and I felt like there was this really good connection with them, and look forward to doing that. We're going over to the pavilion, and with Jonathan, we're able to break up and go to different places. I'm trying to get into Providence Seaside Hospital and do the same thing over there. And in fact, CMH, it's kind of funny, but I told him, if you have a broom closet there, I could make a day out of it every once in a while. Like, hey, we'll do that because we're building this big 5-year project. Yeah, we'll find a broom closet for you. So you never know. You may see me over there every other week, one day, just over there with paratransit applications, and bus schedules, and helping people solve the problems. So this summer's been just really crazy busy, and I appreciate all the support you guys give me into the program. Any questions? Yes.
You made me think of, another group that, the high school kids on Route 15.
Yep.
Now, they were very vocal about when they lost the service, but have we reconnected with those kids that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All the schools, every single one of them. We are in the process of, in fact, October 15th, we have scheduled to do a run for the Warrenton kids. And it basically is a big engagement. We take all the kids on a bus, and we're going to do simulated routes and do a lot of travel training with them, and just have a good time. So we have that scheduled with Warrenton. There's another Warrenton thing they want to schedule. There's like 2 teachers in Warrenton. There's 3 in Astoria, and 2 in Seaside. So those are coming up within the fall and winter. So it's going to be a lot of connections
about that.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll bring that, at least the Warrenton one, first of all.
Tracy?
And along that line, Home Depot works really well if you plan ahead with them. That was I was missing the bus by 3 minutes. And I said, you guys, can you adjust my schedule please?
Yeah.
Just a little bit? And they said, yeah, we can do that.
Good.
And I was going to talk to Jason after, but I would like to have you guys all be aware of that. Jason offered to work with me with the Tillamook Club. The Tillamook Key Club does not want to participate in any divisional things because they can't get transportation to come to a meeting in Seaside or things like that. So Jason offered, and we're going to, and if it's clear with management, we would like to do a travel training at the high school there and make them aware of their possibilities. Also, not just that, but regionally, so that they can go to Seattle for convention on public transit. So that's our intent. Is that acceptable?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, Jason's out there primarily selling our services, but also he's trying to facilitate people getting to other places too.
Yeah.
What options are available.
Yeah, and they can, they would be combined with Tillamook's Route 3 and the connector, because a lot of those would be weekend activities.
Yeah, that's the main thing. There's the connection part of it. Yeah, it's still a little raw in development, but when we get something going, it's going to be really cool to report back to you guys.
And expand their horizons.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
And they won't feel so out of it.
Right, that's what we're here for.
Okay.
I wanted to add to that, I have been getting quite a few phone calls from people at the Cannon Beach shelter. And they want to go to Tillamook. However, they are confused because the bus comes in and it's going north instead of south. And they think they should go across the street and they've missed the bus. So just something, I've noticed that Tillamook doesn't have any schedules up in the shelter anymore, so I hold down there. But the last time I was down there.
I saw that too.
Yeah, but you can understand their confusion.
Yeah,
Because the
they're
bus is
assuming.
pointed the wrong way. And I argue, no, you're fine. And then, of course, our bus comes at the same time as the Tillamook bus, and that's confusing for them too, so.
It'd be nice if the city would allow for signage on both sides.
Yeah, well, the city allows, but they take them down frequently when they clean. Is that what you're saying?
Well, isn't there
A permanent?
is there a bus, stop sign for us? It can be certain, that maybe below there could be, some kind of the Tillamook sign.
Yes, yes.
also.
Yeah, it'd be great. It would have to be a permanent one.
Oh.
Yeah, they disappear.
And
Yeah.
the cinema lost all its signage.
That frequently does happen.
They cut the pipe off and took it away.
Oh.
So
Oh, not the ones we put up in there, but the main one.
the main unit and the point bus and all that stuff is gone. Just disappeared.
You lopped it off.
Somebody just hauled off and cut the pipe and it's gone.
It's rare that that happens, but it does happen.
The sign was a hazard. It was leaning hard, we replaced, we
It was
repaired it numerous times, so, yeah, maintenance had to go in and remove it.
Oh, okay, there we go.
So-
Oh.
Yeah,
Her, it was different.
People probably say maybe.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any discussion to improve the road that stopped the cinema? I mean, it slows you down and, I don't know, I mean, obviously you'd have to get Seaside in, but there has to be,
Parking lot, Seaside.
it's a terrible
Yeah.
spot.
It's wiggly and it's monkey. And in my discussions with the public works director, who has now since left, he did pour some gravel down there.
Yeah.
But that didn't really do a whole lot of good.
They did.
It was
yeah.
gone within, and the same issue is with Gerhardt. We poured gravel into that spot, and within a week, it's gone because the point bus comes in there too, and the buses just tear it out. And then the water seeps in and it's like a lake. So the only real option would be if we could talk to Highway about, maybe if there'd be a little excess asphalt from some one of those paving projects to see if they could smooth that out and build it up a little bit, and then the big buses the coaches wouldn't tear it out. And that would make everybody happier and drier.
Right.
And it's not a very fun stop, is it?
No, it's not, those two stops are wiggly because of that reason. And I don't think the city will put a priority on making any changes until that lot sells that's up north of the cinema.
Has there been any consideration of moving that stop? It's so isolated and so dark that if you're traveling at night.
I made a request to the owners of the cinema, and they are considering a light, which would be a floodlight off of the street light.
Is there any way to have a contact number if they're in trouble? Post it on the station, on the shelter?
911.
911 is pretty, yeah. 911 works pretty good in Seaside. So. They answer the phone.
Do they know where it is?
Oh, yeah, they know.
Okay. Anything else? All right, if there's no objections, I think we can adjourn the meeting at 11:40.